the whole 4 people. Getting impatient on us now. Aw, Nona followed me. I didn't even notice that one.
How dare you not notice that?
That was like a day ago. Was I? It was after stream because I was in Pandora's stream. So I must not have looked at my Twitch stuff. Alright, we're still in Rebecca's stuff. Alright. Oh, we're at her apartment. Okay, cool.
Do you need a refresher?
Alright, we might need a refresher. Well, wait, why is my chat thing not coming up on my Streamlabs?
It is on stream.
Okay, there it is. Wow, that was a delay. Hi, JadeYuki. Nona, my old boss. Hi, Shadow! Shadow, my new best friend, Shadow. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the letter. It's been, what, 7 months, you said?
Since May.
Oof. It's been 7 months. Yeah, I have a really bad delay in my, Streamlabs, so I might be checking out my, like, actual stream to get the notifications properly. It's all good. Thank you for shouting out Shadow. So, we left off, we were about to go to the big party, that everybody goes to, but we were gonna see it from Rebecca's point of view now, so... We'll see. Kylie scared the hell out of us, and,
That fucking child.
we had a lovely, lovely dinner with, Mr. Wright. Yeah, all good. Yeah, this is Jade. She's one of my oldest friends, and not old as in she's old, but, like, I've known her forever, so...
You better specify that.
Yes, one of my very close friends. So, I think that's good for an intro. Is that a good intro?
Good enough for me.
Okay. Alright, we're gonna continue on down the rabbit trail of blood and death and mystery. I suppose.
Yeah, normal Thursday.
Normal Thursday. How old? Oh, JadeYuki. Let me prepare my, my reading voice again. It's only been a day since I played Higurashi. I have to refresh myself. The night wears on without further incident, despite the great number of thoughts swimming inside my head. Honestly, my thoughts would be like a tidal wave for all the shit going on in here. Come morning, there's only a hush, a strange sort of stillness unlike the ones greeting me every morn. This one's uneasy, tight with anticipation, like a string stretched thin, merely waiting for the proper time to snap. Granted, it doesn't make my day any less pleasant, but the edge is there. And as expected, the second I step out of my flat, it comes apart, broken by the voices of 2 squabbling adults echoing from a floor below. Quiet was nice while it lasted. Shame.
What the hell were you thinking?
Oh, that's Ash.
I wasn't.
And that's Isabel.
Ow! Could you let go?
Of course, it's these two. And a few seconds later, they both descend the stairs, with Ashton pulling Isabella by her wrist. She struggles, as she should, but his hold on her remains firm. Freeing herself means having to draw blood as she attempts to pry his hand off her with her other one, or using unnecessary force to push her away. Neither of which is better than the other. One could potentially end in an accident, while the other means having to hurt him physically. She has the good sense to realize that at least, however it doesn't take the desperate edge in her voice when she answers Ashton's temper with her own. So on they go, none the wiser to my presence.
Do you have any idea how much trouble you could get in?
That's why I'm asking you for help.
Is this what you've been doing these past 3 days? Because this doesn't make your case convincing, Isabella.
Rose died, Ash.
I know. Every single person in Luxburg knows. It's on the damn news. But that doesn't mean...
People are missing. Some of those are my friends. and BRC's just covering it all up.
You can't just barge into my office and expect me to do anything about it, right off the bat. This isn't a children's game, Isabella. We have procedures. We have to follow protocol. There's red tape all over this case for a reason. We sure as hell don't investigate things just because some stupid letter spooked us.
Ash, you have to believe me this time. If we don't do anything right now, more people will...
It's been a whole week. This stupid letter prank is getting old real fast. I'm sick of it. It was funny the first time, not so much now.
You're the only one that can help me with this, Ash. Even Rebecca won't.
Some would say Rebecca.
All right, you two are awfully loud. What's going on here?
Both of their heads snap up, almost in unison. A displeased frown is on each of their faces, but this is a necessary interruption. What can they do? People still in their units have already taken interest on the commotion, with some taking a peek behind their curtains, while others are bold enough to creak open their doors, if only slightly. If they don't keep it down, pretty soon our landlady will show up. That's the real demon, the landlady.
Always.
Getting a reprimand from her is the last thing I want to happen, first thing on a Friday morning, even if this is hardly my fault.
Well, if you want to continue this, you two better do it elsewhere. You're disturbing other people.
Don't worry, we're done here.
No, we aren't. Becca, I looked it up. I called them. I visited some of them, and...
Which you shouldn't have done in the first place. Isabella, you're going to create more problems for us with what you're doing. A team has already been assigned to it. Leave it to us.
Your precious team is looking at it the wrong way. Becca, it's not just Rose. There are others.
That last bit strikes a chord, prods strongly at a memory. At that vicious smile already etched deeply inside my mind. The image appears clear enough that at the mere mention of it I stumble on my own question.
What do you mean?
The letter, Rebecca! It's not...
It's nothing. If there's really something going on because of that dumb letter, none of us would be standing here. We've all read it, haven't we? But Rebecca's alive, Zach's alive, I'm alive. So for the last time, this isn't a curse. There's a murderer on the loose, and your coworkers happen to be the victims.
But it was like an actual prank, like not from the lady, as we saw in Marianne's perspective, right?
There was only that one little bit that they added to it.
Yeah.
That
Give it a
showed
rest,
5
Isabella.
people
It's
or
too
whatever.
early for this shit.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's too much for a coincidence?
Not so much. Most serial killers follow a pattern. I'll tell you about it some other time.
What about ghost serial killers?
And anyway, coincidence or not, the point is, civilians like you aren't supposed to get involved. You're putting yourself in danger.
I wasn't chasing after...
Will the both of you slow down and stop arguing for a minute? What's this about your coworkers, Belle?
Becca, please don't tell me now you believe this shit.
Sure, in a heartbeat, I agree with Ashton. It's how it always has been, besides having a very good point. Really, they're the very same ones he'll make every time I ask too many questions. But the fact of the matter is, when he wants to hear from me right now is far from what I've been seeing, sensing these past few days. It doesn't matter what Isabella or I believe on our own. Something odd has been happening around me, and that letter she picked up is at the heart of this. But however I respond to the question in their faces, only one of them will be pleased with it. Oh boy. Belle, you shouldn't be doing these things, or I might have seen her. I'm assuming by her, she means Ghost Lady.
Yeah.
I might have seen Demon Kylie, you know.
I mean, that, and didn't she see her in the,
She
backseat
saw...
of her car?
Yeah, she did, that's right. I mean, I completely understand Isabella's perspective, so, like, I don't think it's right to chastise her, and I think we need to be honest about this, you know, because if we're just gonna be lying about things and just saying, you're being irrational, la-di-da-di-da, you know, go on the whole spiel, then nothing's gonna get accomplished if nobody, like, talks about it.
They're gonna kill everybody.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna be honest about these things. Well, Ashton's gonna hate us for that. Yep.
Yeah, a little bit.
And Isabella's gonna like us for that. Well... But at least our relationship with Luke is still low. We're making sure of that.
Wanna bottom it out.
Ashton in particular won't be too happy to hear it. Imagining the look on his face doesn't take too much effort. Hopefully we have time to build that back up. His entire posture shifts the moment my reluctance shows, shoulders tensing, brows furrowing, eyes gaining a sharp edge. He's already bracing himself for the disappointment. And it will be a disappointment. Not in a million years did I ever believe I'll be saying this either.
I might have seen her. The woman Belle's been telling us about. The one she said she saw in the attic.
Both of them stare at me like I've grown an extra head. For a few moments, Ashton looks as if he's about to have a fit. A pause treads at its heels after, a silence thick enough one can almost hear a pin drop.
You're kidding, right?
Yeah, I'm freaking kidding, Ash. I'm really kidding.
Do I look like I'm joking?
Really, Becca? Not funny.
Ash, I'm not lying. Why would I lie about this? It's been this way since the film fest. The past few days have been really odd since we read that letter.
Or maybe you're all just feeling under the weather.
I'm not sick. Don't you think I'd know that by now?
Becca, you're starting to sound like Scaredy Cat. Give me a break.
Why don't you?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, you two.
Isabella's voice cuts sharply through the conversation, abruptly putting an end to the brewing argument.
It's all my fault. This is all my fault. I was only hoping I could fix this before any of you. I'm sorry for dragging you all into this.
Also, it's weird that, like, everybody else has seen her, but Ash suddenly hasn't. Like, somehow hasn't.
I mean, he kind of has tunnel vision on going after Luke.
Yeah, true. But still, like, everyone else has, like, clearly seen her. And he's, like, for some reason, he's, like, the only one. She breathes in, deep, steadying, and in that moment, something falls behind her eyes as she looks away.
I'll fix this. I promise.
A quiet resolve. The same one I saw her in that night from 3 days ago. But this time it burns brighter. Even Ashton wavers at its sight. When she looks at him straight in the eyes, gaze unflinching, gradually his grip on her wrist loosens. Also, I forgot to write your name in here.
How?
I also forgot to share it on my Discord. I am behind on the times.
You're slacking.
I am slacking. It's okay. It's the sound of my failure. Let me just type that real quick. Might be able to get a few more people in here.
Maybe. Maybe then Nert will know.
Maybe then Nerd will know. It's true. He almost always shows up if I'm streaming a visual novel. He's like, oh, is that a visual novel I see? Slides into the chat. I always spam it on all of my servers. Thankfully, I don't have a lot, so it doesn't take much time. Okay, one more chat. Okay. All is well. I did the thing. Yes, I did the thing. Okay, game. Game! Even Ashton wavers at its sight. When she looks at him straight in the eyes, gaze unflinching. Gradually, his grip on her wrist loosens.
Belle, there's nothing to fix. The problem is...
Just this once, Ash.
Her voice, though small and lacking any force, stops him. Along with it, every sound, every noise dies around us, a hush descending as if the world is waiting for her words.
You don't have to come with me. But if I don't do anything, I am going to regret it.
There's the music. I thought it was sounding awful quiet in here.
Very quiet.
I was like, where is the music? She lays a hand atop his.
It's that tense.
Gentle. Pleading. Almost intimate if one does not consider the circumstances we found ourselves in.
Please.
Ashton will never tell a soul. Will never admit it to even to himself, but it is in that short second that his own resolve breaks. The moment the hard edge in his eyes softens, and he relinquishes his hold on her, letting his hand fall limply to his side. Wordlessly, Isabella steps back and runs off, leaving only a muttered thanks and a small, lackluster smile. Only after the last of her footsteps fade away does Ashton move, breaking the silence with one of his sharp exhales before reaching up to pinch the bridge of his nose, in a gesture of frustration and surrender. Hi, Rain! Welcome to the stream!
Did you really have to tell her that?
What do you want to hear from me then? That everything's fine?
No, I want all of you to stop putting these ideas in her head. None of it is helping. Never mind. Don't worry about her. I'll bring her back here.
Will you? He's already poised to leave when my own instinct takes over. Yeah, we're not going to be debating today. It's a good visual novel, though. I definitely recommend it. I reach for him, gripping his elbow with the same unyielding grip, the action prompted by voices whispering at the back of my mind. He's already made it clear he's not going to believe me, but he deserves a word of caution. Who knows where all of this will take us, how all of this will end. He shouldn't be caught off guard, beliefs notwithstanding.
Ash, I know you don't believe in those things she's saying. And you know me. I'm less inclined to believe in those things as you do. But I've seen something. There's something strange going on here. You don't have to buy it. If you don't want to listen to me, fine. But please, try to hear her out. It's bad enough that Isabella goes off like this without telling anyone. I'm just worried something might happen to her if she keeps at it. Talk to her, okay?
As if she trusts me enough for that.
Doesn't the fact that she approached you first about this, instead of me, already say a lot?
True. Fatal 12 is amazing. I absolutely adore that game. I've not played House and Fate Morgana, but I've heard good things. I think it's House of Fate Morgana. Or the Fate of House Morgana. One of those. Some combination of those words.
The words are in the title somewhere.
Yes.
In some order.
I don't know which order, but I know they're there. A different kind of trust, granted implicitly and never spoken, sometimes too big, too fragile to last. He falls silent for a long moment as he turns it over in his mind. In the end, all he manages to offer is a simple nod before he departs, and a promise to, at least, listen to her. Without the teasing or the jibes. See? We made progress. Well, a little bit. A favor for me is the least he could do for her. This is as much as I can do for him as well, until I've understood what's happening myself. Nice. Journal updated. Okay, so that was right before... Oh, the finishing touches. Okay. Yeah, I remember that. So that was right before that.
We're getting there.
Tonight, hopefully, where this all started will provide the answers I'm... God damn it, Boom! It's always when I'm least expecting it. Thanks,
hey, Nert's
Boom.
in here.
Huh?
Nert did make it.
Nerd! It's Nerd! We were just talking about you. Surprise! It's the Symphony of Failure, Boom says. Nerd is here! You can't have a good visual novel stream without Nerd. It's just impossible. Except the whole thing's off to a bad start, and all of a sudden, whatever Isabel claims dwelling in this mansion becomes the least of my concerns. Story updated twice. That was very close.
There we
Very close together. Of all the cabbies in Luxburn, I have to chance upon the superstitious one. Still not as bad as finding out your car's starter refuses to crank on when it was still working this morning, yes. But it's equally as frustrating when you're forced to walk the rest of the way. All because the driver got spooked. Oh my god. Isabella and him will get along so well. I do get his reasons. After all, I've had my fair taste of the bizarre lately. That's an understatement. All of which might have been brought upon by that letter Isabella found here. But you'd think he'd at least be charitable enough to take me a little closer to the house itself, not at a distant 15 minutes away from it by foot. Jesus Christ. Good thing I'm not wearing anything too formal or constricting. Otherwise, that short walk would have likely put me in a bad mood, long before I have to suffer in a room full of strangers tonight.
Sure. It sounds like it did. If she's already bitching about it for the past 15 minutes walking down here.
Right. Of course I would be too. Although this soon proves to be a problem the second the driveway comes into view and I near the entrance. Severely underdressed is a total understatement to describe how I look. You're gonna get more? God. Of course you're gonna get more. Is there a concept or thing you could tell me about Fatal 12? Fatal 12 is really interesting. It's based off the hands of a clock, so there are 12 people that must participate in this sort of, like... I'm not really gonna call it a death game, but it kind of has that sort of, like, feel to it. And there's, like, a mystery going on between all of these people, and you're trying to figure out why they're stuck in this game together. But it was really good. I really liked it. Can't really, I don't know. I feel like any more than that kind of spoils it. There's a lot of really good characters in this game. One character in particular was my absolute favorite, and I adored her to absolute death. Okay. Cars worth more than my own apartment and childhood home combined line the mansion's front yard. Men and women decked out in their best also flock near the entrance. One of which I hope dies by the end of this. I didn't say that. What are you talking about? Most are eager for their festivities to start, while some are simply idling about, enjoying their warm afternoon sun before it sets. But once the woman standing at the front porch speaks, their undivided attention immediately shifts to her. It's Hana! Presumably Mrs. Wright, from the confident manner she holds herself among present company. She looks so happy, look at her! Oh yeah, that's Odette. Yeah, she's my favorite. I absolutely love her. This, despite keeping a far simpler appearance than the rest of her own guests or not having her husband beside her. A trait worthy of utmost admiration at best. At worst, she's the envy of every woman, the subject of every gossip in Luxburn.
Welcome, welcome everyone.
You better watch your back, Heather.
What am I watching for? What?
Boom,
Oh.
I'm ready.
Oh no! Oh no. And Mom said we could have been good friends. I can't even picture myself mingling with the kind of guest she has. She's sweet, though. I mean, I can't say the same for everybody, like, around her, but she's sweet. Though I admit she does seem familiar now that I've seen her this close. Memories of sitting in a vanity not mine, being dressed in clothes too fancy for my tastes. Yeah, Fatal 12 has really great art. It also has a really great soundtrack, too. They flit briefly in my mind until her cheerful tone rises above the buzz of her enraptured audience again. Yeah, I love Hana. I think Marianne's still my favorite, but I like Hana a lot too.
Please, make yourselves at home.
I wish I can share her enthusiasm, really. But being surrounded by all this extravagance, for the lack of a better term, merely makes me dread how the rest of the night might go. I shouldn't have let Luke's words affect me like that. I should have just gone ahead and asked Ashton like I'd planned. If he were here, then I won't have to.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Oh boy.
Oh, he's here already.
The rest of that thought dies in my mind at once. A moment of astonishment overcomes me, before confusion sets in seconds later. It takes another for my body to catch up. Once it does, when I finally turn to see it for myself, it's his familiar mop of hair that catches my eye first. Right? She do, she do. That was one of my favorite CGs when, she was, like, holding, Hana, and when she had that one scene where she was, like, really upset. I love that CG. And there he is, almost an arm's reach if it isn't for the guest standing between us. Ashton Frey, standing in the Ermengarde Mansion's driveway with an air too lackadaisical for someone who absolutely abhors parties of any form. Or has any business here, as far as I know. Picture it forms is too bizarre for me, that my mouth speaks out ahead of any coherent thought.
Ashton?
He swivels on his heel with an equally puzzled face. An odd expression flashes momentarily across it once he sees me, though he blinks it away before I can figure out what it is exactly.
Becca, what are you doing here?
I was invited.
Really? I had no idea you were friends with the host.
A long time ago.
Well, it's my parents, actually. But that's beside the point. What are you doing here? You hate parties.
I still do. I'm just here on behalf of a friend.
That in itself is weird coming from him. It doesn't help that he isn't even making an effort to spare a glance my way when he answers. Yeah, I do have voice acting. Shocking! A lot of, yeah, some of the visual novels I play don't have voice acting in them, but this one does. Instead, they're focused at some point in the crowd, his gaze darting between people walking past us until a small frown forms on his face.
That's rare. Do you have someone with you then?
Nope, just me. I won't be staying long.
Oh, well, if that's the case, maybe you and I can...
Chief?
Ashton, what's...
She just got shot down!
Oh, God.
Unexpectedly, he places a hand on my shoulder, stopping me mid-sentence. He still has the distracted look on him, except this time his eyes are sharper, as if he has found that what or who he's been searching for amongst the throng of partygoers earlier.
Sorry, Becca. I need to... There's something I need to check for a bit. I'll talk to you later. Do you have a ride home?
No, I had to take a cab here. My car wouldn't start this afternoon. But what about...
I told you to get that old thing checked before, didn't I? You can head back with me after this. Anyway, I gotta go. See ya. Be careful, okay?
Sure. I meet a smile he hastily throws my way with a frown of my own. What does he mean by that? But before I can ask already, he has turned his back from me and is walking away, without a single explanation whatsoever. How dare he? How dare he?
Asshole.
What a jerk. In some desperate effort, I try to catch up to him, if only to know what warranted this sudden departure and this odd wording at the end.
Hey, be careful! About what exact...
It can be fun. Yeah, like, Doki Doki's really fun if you get people working on it together. But I really like the voices they've chosen for this one. Only for my attempts to be interrupted by a muffled ringing from my pocket. Mom's cheerful voice greets me as soon as I answer.
Yes, I'm at the party already, Mom.
Momonica. Don't worry, Momonica will be back Monday.
Yes, I'll say hi to her if I can.
The conversation itself doesn't last long. Just a simple hello are reminded to enjoy the party and to send their regards to their old student. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's the whole reason she's here. Okay, I forgot about that. But when the call ends and I get to look up, Ashton's already nowhere in sight. With a sigh and admittedly a little disappointment, I tuck my mobile back into my pocket and head inside. Yeah, we've taken a couple weeks off, but we will be having the Doki Doki collab this Monday at 6 Eastern Standard Time. Even with familiar company, however coincidental this meeting is, this is somehow shaping up to a terrible evening. The party hits full swing an hour later. With the host's opening remarks given, still no sign of her husband, the poor woman, and the guests promptly fed, the band shifts the melody to a livelier tune. Soon laughter and the rhythmic tapping of shoes filled the room, all in accordance to the lifting strains of music. It seems fun, I admit. Fascinating at certain moments, the flurry of dancers making the music their own, almost with no care in the world. If I weren't so indisposed, I'd have joined the crowd for a song or two. There is no lack of invitations, anyway. Plenty of them, in fact, with some asking more than once. It's only my stubborn refusal that prevents me from joining them. 'Cause she wants Ash. And I can. A single nod is all it'd take, and the evening would have been far more enjoyable for me. But pride in my own silly hopes, the thought of being seen with one of them by him, curbs that, as much as I hate to admit it. Because doing so also means outright acknowledging the douche's claims. That he has to be the one to tell me that still sends my blood boiling. I would have preferred someone more agreeable, less of an arse. It's a hard truth to swallow, especially when the very person at the center of it makes denial difficult. Yeah, such exquisite music. Can't even spare me a minute. You got me on exquisite. A minute of his attention, or a single glance at me the whole evening. Oh, it's Zach! Hell, Zachary might have spoken more words to me. The big guy's busy covering the event to boot, but at least he manages to slip in a conversation or two between takes, or a small wave of his hand when he passes by. What's Ashton's excuse? He's been flitting in and out of sight the whole time. One moment he's hanging around a small group, and another he's hovering around the string band. I bet he's investigating. Just a second ago he's wolfing down some deviled eggs by the buffet table, a glass of wine in hand. The next thing I know, he's gone. I mean, I would be devouring those deviled eggs too. Not gonna lie.
You need the whole table.
Yeah, I'd be like, are those deviled eggs I see? Steals the whole bowl. I'll take that. These need to be thoroughly inspected.
Have you seen you walking around just holding the whole damn plate of them? Just nothing for anybody else.
Nope. Not when it comes to deviled eggs. Nope. If I didn't know any better, I'd say he doesn't want to be with any of his friends. Is it because his boss is here? What's the big deal about that? It's never bothered him before.
I swear, the next person who asks, I'm dancing the night away with. Ashton can go fuck himself.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Her voice almost makes me jump. Too focused on the gobshite? That's an interesting word. Wandering around the ballroom in my own annoyance to notice. If she's heard of any of the profanities I've mumbled, or she's taken notice of my discomfiture, she makes no comment on it, merely greeting me with a smile when I turn my attention to her. I mean, I'd dance with Hana. I'd be like, let's go! Right now! Miss Hana Wright gives off a whole different air when she's not speaking to an audience. Homely, a bit too friendly for my liking. But I guess that comes from her being raised in such an environment, and having to deal with pompous, snooty people. Though I suppose nothing has really changed from years ago. I remember her carrying herself in a similar same manner during that one and only visit. Does she remember any of it? I won't be surprised if she doesn't. It has taken me a while myself. She's probably met a lot of people like little Becky throughout the years. Might have already forgotten about me or my parents. People like her thrive on connections, after all. Nevertheless, I return her smile, awkward and stiff as it may be.
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy.
Fancy?
I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Oh, you're fine, dearie. It's only really the parvenus, those who climb, that come to these parties all dolled up. Quite the black-haired beauty, isn't he?
Takes me all to realize who she's talking about. Till Ashton walks by again, in close proximity that any of the times he has done before this evening. Still, without a look of acknowledgement our way, though, even if Miss Wright speaks loud enough to catch the attention of anyone within earshot.
Who, Ash?
You know, you really shouldn't have turned down those offers. If I wasn't married, I'd happily go dancing with those young men. But you said a name. Ash. That's the exquisite lad you've been looking at all this time. I don't know him, and I'm the one hosting this party. That must mean you know each other. Is he your boyfriend, then? because that would explain those rejections.
This isn't the first time someone has made that assumption. Almost every student I've had in the past did. My coworkers, more often than not, assume he is. A few of my neighbors also think we're an item. Not that Ashton has ever reacted to those. He's been quite indifferent about it, in fact. Still, the heat of a blush creeps up my cheeks, a denial ready, despite wanting it to happen so badly myself.
What? No, that's ridiculous. He isn't my boyfriend.
Such a violent reaction. A simple no would have sufficed. Many here would be happy to hear it.
And I haven't been looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why?
You keep telling yourself that. I do my best to summon a straight face, but before her good cheer, it easily falters.
That's right. You've been staring. Quite heatedly, in fact.
How does one stare heatedly? What do you
I'm
mean?
not sure if you look like you want to kiss him or kill him.
Both at the
both.
same time.
Kiss him while stabbing him.
I mean, it's the yandere way, am I right?
It's more the
She's more
latter
stern.
currently.
Just don't go murdering him on my property.
Save that for the at-home stuff.
I don't want to walk into a room and suddenly find a body there.
She sounds like she's,
Foreshadowing?
had this, happen to her before. That too. It's infectious, in a way. No sooner I find myself enjoying our chat more than I've imagined myself to. Although her attention briefly wavers at one point, she remains a good companion. Even more once I've mentioned who my parents are, her face quickly lights up and fondness graces her face, despite the meeting from several years ago being a short one. But of course, there are some things we can't really avoid talking about. After all, it's one of the few things I remember her asking me the moment she spotted little Becky in the room. Do you have a boyfriend? In retrospect, it's an odd thing to talk about as children, when there are loads we could have started with.
Yes, oh, I remember you. You were the cutest little thing with glasses.
She did have glasses. Did you ever finish reading the diary thing?
I have not. I've been meaning to.
I actually did finish it, and it was actually really interesting. She looked so cute when she was little with glasses.
And when we met, you were having boy troubles with this lad called something with an A.
I believe I still have the clothes she gave me, chosen also I could impress him. And even back then, Ashton was always denser than a rock, and that one attempt to get him to notice backfired spectacularly. Yeah, he's always been very, very dense. Sure, he's keen, he's a detective for heaven's sake, but feelings, more often than not, escape him.
What was it again? Aaron, Alan, Adele, Albert, Alexander, Andrew?
Which makes this whole talk all the more embarrassing. And the more names she lists off, the more my discomfort grows until my smile turns into a grimace. What will she think of me? Here she is married to a man she most probably loves at that. I don't know why! Well, I'm still stuck in the same place, yearning for the same person.
At least someone other than his mother does.
Right? Honestly, Hana gets all the props, man.
Ashton! Ash! That man is that boy! The same one. Oh, goodness me, after all these years! I can see why, though. He's quite dashing.
You don't really need to announce it to everyone within earshot, you know? Keep it down.
I'm so sorry, but it really is cute.
She says that, but for a short moment, a hint of pity flickers in her eyes. I take that as a chance to change the subject, before anything more can be said over the matter. Haven't even figured out how I should feel about the things Luke told me. Now I'm getting dragged into a similar discussion.
This is a nice party, Miss Wright.
It's nice. Though, to be frank, I doubt she'll be so willing to pass this up. The topic has already captured her attention.
Please, Hana is fine. We're friends of a sort, aren't we? We must be friends, seeing as I know about your little infatuation, Becky.
That means nothing.
Don't you worry, dearie. You'll have your happy ending yet.
I'm not too concerned about that, am I? That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh? And what makes you think that? Doesn't everybody want their happy ending?
The idea of happy endings sounds like they're just for fairy tales. And they are, sorta. I don't think you can just sit around, trapped in some tower and hope for the best. If you love them, you have to fight for it, right? You're not just going to sit there and hope that everything will just fix itself on its own. Like everything, you have to work at it.
True. Hypocrisy, that's what this is. How dare I preach about something when it's exactly what I've been doing? And then, I go and act as if I'm entitled to any of it. That by virtue of us growing up together, he must return whatever I feel for him. And he's not allowed to look at another because I'm the one who has stayed by his side the longest. When in the first place, Ashton has always been his own person. Ayaya, it's Pandora! Welcome to stream, Pandora! This is something I cannot force on him. I can only hold on to these, take care of it, till the time comes I can confess it to him. Great if he reciprocates, but if he can't? If he won't? Selfish. I've been too selfish. How laughable that Luke's words still strike tune up until now.
But what do I know?
I'm sure the daughter of the two greatest professors I've ever known is smart enough to know what she's talking about.
Jaju's doing too much work while he's in class. They're shouting out each other.
How dare you promote me? I'm gonna promote you back.
Oh, it's the Pandora way, you know.
Everybody gets
If anybody promotes him, he's gonna flip him off and promote right back. That's how he does. At one point, maybe I would have easily agreed to that. However, the past weeks have also seen changes in the way I view things. As nice as these things sound, it turns out whatever I previously know may not even be true for other people, or for myself. It is sobering and almost funny how things I might have said with much certainty before now has doubts muddying each of them. But there will be time to mull about these later, because when a hush suddenly descends in the room, a whole different issue rears. Oh no. Oh
Why
no.
now?
Especially when fucking Luke, strides into the now quiet ballroom. Fashionably late and oozing with the same pompous mien he always carries around with him.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party?
I was enjoying it more when you were gone.
Yeah,
I hope
not
I'm not too
anymore.
late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
That's Taka Hata, right, that plays him?
Yes.
God damn it. He plays him so well, like, it's so...
He knows how to play an
God.
asshole.
Yeah. Before long, Hana leaves my side to join him, and it doesn't take a genius to piece it all together.
Welcome one and all to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are our ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen. If you would excuse my presumptuousness.
You are not excused.
Not at all.
No.
So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
His attitude, the manner he carries himself around people, his unfamiliarity with that part of the city. Of fucking course. I should have known. Although I'm partly at fault here, tabloids and the gossip columns have never been really my thing. I should have also expected that wherever Luke fucking Wright is, I love how she's saying the F word so many times, but it's always about him.
I feel like I'm projecting.
Right? She's projecting Jade's spirit. Some sort of drama will sure follow. Ah, Kronos is here! Hi, Kronos! Okay. He seems the kind of person who revels in it, figures it'll find him on its own even when he's not asking for it. Oh yeah, this whole
Oh, here we
scene.
go.
Oh boy! It happens amidst a round of applause and hoots, the people lagging behind the crowd. Oh my god. The crowd. The crowd! The crowd they've gathered does not catch on until the cheers turn into several scandalized gasps.
I am pregnant with your little bastard. You promised me you'll take responsibility. God damn it, Luke. I finally got you to talk to me after months of silence, and you do this to me.
What do you mean you're pregnant with? Luke, is this true?
Lies and slander, woman! Security! Yo, Hans, take her out of here before she makes an even bigger fool of herself!
No, you do not do this to me. I was so ready to leave my stupid oaf of a husband. I told you to leave that damn wife of yours. Look at her. Does she look like she wants a baby?
And she's pregnant.
With 2?
Yeah, with twins. Yeah.
Does she look like she could take care of a baby?
Better than you can. Jesus.
Well, I mean, she kind of technically is already with Luke.
The commotion doesn't go further, despite the drunk woman appearing like she has plenty more venom to spill. In a little while, security shows up, escorting her out. Apparently she's the chief inspector's wife, too? Oh, yeah! The chief inspector, which is, Ash's boss.
Who's also there.
Who's also there, yeah. I did not piece that together. Okay. Wow. Wow. As if this whole thing can't get any more fucked up than it already is. What a mess. But the damage has been done, and beyond the repercussions this will bring, I'm more worried about Hana. Maybe Luke too, in part. I've seen the man that hides behind his self-importance, and it's someone who cares for the person who stands beside him. No matter how questionable that is now. After all, no anger is worse than that of a scorned woman. And Hana, as refined and as well-mannered she is in front of her guests, I'm not sure if she'll be all too willing to tolerate this. Her party, her home, her husband, and that woman has just dared to walk over it. It's in her eyes when she...
Pissed.
It's in her eyes! When she turns to her. The face of someone who demands she be given the same respect she has long deserved.
You are no longer welcome in any of our estates, our properties, and our businesses. And we will no longer patronize yours. Now, escort the girl and make sure she isn't standing even an inch within our grounds.
Hana's outrage is a strange sight to witness after those smiles and the grace she has carried herself through the entirety of the party. Like this, her eyes burning bright with fury. I didn't doubt she could do so much more. Ruin the scandalized woman if need be. Shaming her is already an act of mercy, generous enough coming from her.
You won't show your face to me ever again if you know what is good for you, Rochelle.
Oof.
Take her away.
No one protests, not even the subject of her ire as she is forcibly dragged out. Even the smile on Luke's face wavers when she eventually turns to him and pulls him out of the room for a talk of their own. Yeah, they got a lot to talk about. For a brief moment, there's a concerted effort between those left in the hall. A short second of tense silence while struggle to figure out what to do with themselves. But true to the kind of talk these situations attract, it doesn't last too long. Soon, chatter explodes throughout the whole ballroom. Worried murmurs, clicking of tongues, and inappropriate gossip filters through the thick tension in the room. Of course it does. Most of them haven't even left the premises and they're already talking about it. Tomorrow it'll be on the news for sure, in every local broadsheet and tabloid in Luxbourne. I couldn't care less about any of it. Simple thinking about this already gives me a headache. When the shock has faded, I just feel bone tired. I've accomplished nothing of what I've come here for, and apparently Ashton has disappeared somewhere during the commotion. I'm not sure what pisses me off more. That he ignored me the whole evening and might have just left without saying anything, or knowing he obviously has some other motive for being here. Can't he at least trust his own friends for that?
He didn't have to hide it from me.
The only relief to be had in this, perhaps, is Zachary's comforting smile when he approaches. It's the big teddy bear! He appears as disturbed when he stands beside me, fiddling with the buttons on his camera, even though the device is off.
Eventful night, huh?
You can
That-
say
that
that
laugh.
again. It was awful.
Hope he got it all on camera.
He pauses for a moment, stares at me intently. Then he laughs, a tired one but filled with humor, in spite of what we've witnessed.
Let me guess. Ashton.
Oh, what makes you think he's my problem?
Just a hunch. And, it's all in your face, actually.
Why does he have to? I don't understand that man anymore.
Like I always say, you should just...
Oh, you can bet your ass we're going to have a very long talk. I'm not letting him off easy this time.
I'm sure he has a good reason. He won't say it, but he likes being around us. Heck, we're probably the only people he likes. He ain't gonna ruin that for something stupid. He can be dense, but he ain't dumb.
But that's exactly what I've been telling people, isn't it?
We'll see about that. I just want to go home. Are you done here?
Nah, sorry. I can't until the party ends.
It's all right. I'll just take a cab or something. I'll see you later, Zachary.
Before removing myself from the room, I lay a comforting hand on his arm. He'll need it amongst these people. And then I am gone, more than ready to end the disastrous night as early as possible. Ooh. Development! As it turns out, the night isn't done with me yet. Because no... Oh, god damn it!
Jesus.
Of
Fucking
course!
Luke.
Because no sooner has the porter closed the door behind me, I find myself standing alone in the foyer with one Luke Wright. No sign of his wife. Just him and the agitated clocks clicks. Agitated clocks. Clicks. Clicks his shoes make while he treads around the empty room. There's not even a clock in this foyer. Like,
Hey, you can see.
there might be. In another room. Away from the media's prying eyes and their guests' judging stares, it's easy to glean how much this scandal has him shaken. Not to the point where he has utterly lost his composure, he appears to have mastered himself not to. But an ample opening is there for a nervous edge to show on the lines of his shoulders.
What do you know?
The man is not as tough as he makes himself out to be. Sure, I've seen this before, briefly in that 1 second in the hallway at school. It's a strange matter, however, to witness this out in the open. Behind closed doors, this is the real Luke Wright. Though maybe that's because he hasn't noticed my presence yet, busy as he is with his thinking. If he's aware, I doubt he'll be acting like this. His pride is one thing he will always wear with him. Even now, when I place a gentle hand on his shoulders, and he whirls around to face me. There's a second-long moment of anger flashing across his features, before it dissolves into confusion. He tucks it away as quickly as he can, but it does nothing to change the impression I've built of the man in my head.
Daisy, must you be everywhere?
Must you be everywhere?
We've only met 3 times, Luke. Quit the dramatics. Besides, shouldn't you be aware of who gets invited to your party?
If I was, there wouldn't be any of that scene tonight. That munter wouldn't even get an inch within this property. I'd better off Luxborn if I could.
He probably pawns everything off to their servants and Hana. Pompous, elitist douche.
Did you just come out here to lecture me about it? Because, Daisy, I've had enough of it for one night. I don't need to hear another one.
You are a very unpleasant man.
So I've been told. Will that be all?
Yeah, but you're not listening.
If so, I suggest you go back and join every bloody goss in that room.
Not everything. As unpleasant and frustrating talking with this man is, he deserves the benefit of the doubt at least. Does he? Does he, though?
I would not. Absolutely not.
The questions and criticisms are lacking, of course. But right this instant, there's only one that comes to mind. Is it true? I want to fucking know.
Is it true?
Is it
I
true?
really wanna know.
Is there some truth to it, then?
That's gonna make it go down, obviously. We're gonna hit rock bottom.
I want rock fucking bottom.
Is there To his credit, he does appear extremely offended and repulsed by the notion. His mortified expression, alone answers the question, but I want to hear it from him, even if he takes nothing short of a derisive tone just to answer that.
Daisy? Oh, Daisy. If you believed every scandal that came along, I'd have 100 children already. Do me a favor and give me a break. I get enough of this false shite from the tabloids.
Well, I'm sorry for asking. I just wanted to hear it from you, douche.
And now that
Right?
you've heard it, does it change anything? Are we going to start seeing miracles now? A solution to poverty? Pigs flying in the sky?
Is some friendly concern such a hard thing to comprehend for you?
He pauses at that. Friend? No, we're not friends.
And
This is not a
that's what stopped him.
friendship. Suddenly he doesn't know what to do with his hands, and in the end he simply stuffs them back into his pockets and sulks. I'm not too shocked it has caught him off guard. There probably aren't many people who tell him that. He's a difficult man to get along with. Zachary probably wouldn't want to be anywhere near him, despite the man having the patience of a saint. Ashton he could tolerate, maybe? Though I highly doubt he can keep it up with Luke.
I don't see it.
I feel like Ashton would just be angry all the time around him.
He would want to shoot him.
Yeah. Dealing with the crier is more than patience. It's a huge mystery why I still bother. Yeah, why do you still bother? When the awkwardness passes, mostly coming from him, he merely glances away.
Maybe. I don't need your stupid friendship.
I'll just slap you in the damn face right now, buddy.
Good heavens! I really want to ask how...
Oh, sorry.
Well,
I didn't mean to skip that. I also want to ask that, though, despite the fact that I skipped it by accident. He's interested. I can tell from the frown he shoots my way. He's likely wondering how I've ended up knowing her. I'd humor him any other day, probably tease him about it and keep him guessing just to annoy him, if I'm in a good mood. But my own patience is nearing its ends. After Ashton, after the whole fiasco here, and now him... He won't even answer my questions properly. Why should I answer his? That's true. Moreover, there are other matters more important than that. His marital problems, first and foremost. His attitude follows right after. I feel like his attitude is the worst problem.
it should be first thing because then that leads to the marital problems.
Right? True. Concerns aside, I can't help with those. Those are things only he can fix, and it's definitely not by standing around here. So with a slight wave of my hand, I end it right there and walk away from him. Although I can't resist the urge to glance back before I leave, if only to have one last look at the man he really is. But the instant I turn my gaze on him, I see it.
Oh.
Oh. Looming, hovering over his shoulders, drawn to him like a moth to a flame. Like the first time I've stepped inside this place in search of Isabella. He was there too, wasn't he? That man, along with his wife, and another person, Miss McCullough? And that shadow. No. A woman now. Her, no longer a dark blur. Terror rushes through every vein of my body. A crippling sensation gripping every part of me, while she stares at me with a glare filled with nothing but hate and venom.
Bless you, Pip.
It's like staring at the eyes of a woman I have unknowingly robbed of something precious. I try to say something, a warning. Before I can gather my wits and voice it out, someone shuts the door behind me, as if to keep outsiders away from the secrets the mansion possesses. Oh, okay.
No more of that then.
I guess not. There's that. Okay, right here. That's that scene there. Okay, so that was after the whole scene with Marianne in the basement. Okay. The brush of fresh air against my cheeks does little to dampen the chill in my bones. By now the cessation, the fear and disquiet, it leaves whenever I see her, is familiar enough for me. Already it has made me a home in my nerves. I don't even notice my trembling hands until I cross my arms across my chest. The cold from the tips of my fingers seeps through the thick material of my shirt. Neither of it helps bring some semblance of coherent thought in my head. But I know I should.
Someone has to tell that douche.
I start walking back before fear can cripple me again. Oh no, don't go back.
No.
It's not wise. Returning, that is, especially after what happened. But Hana's still an old friend, and Luke doesn't deserve whatever misfortune that letter might bring. He does, though.
Leave him.
I can't
get
just
Hana
leave
out.
those two in there. Isabella's right. She's real, and there's something she wants from everyone who has read that.
Becca, where'd you go off to?
Ash!
Now
If
Ashton
you're done
cares.
here, let's go. I'll get you back to the city.
My mistake. The second his voice cuts through the crisp night air is that I've allowed my annoyance get the better of me. Fuming, purpose forgotten, I roll around and march towards him. One accusation after another piles up at the tip of my tongue, ready to be hurled at any moment. There's no hesitation holding me back when I fling it at him. That straight face he keeps as I do, straight face he keeps as I do, so doesn't help my temper my anger either. Wow. For some reason, that sentence. Whew,
Sound like you had a stroke.
I probably did. It only makes me want to slap some more sense into him.
Shouldn't I be the one asking you that?
Becca, I've been waiting here the whole time. I told you I hate parties like...
And before that, where have you been the entire evening?
Right then and there, I might have forgiven him if he'd shown some ounce of remorse for leaving me like that. Maybe he could have looked away, given me a sign that my assumptions might be right. He doesn't even need to put them into words. A single gesture of confirmation is all I need. Rather, what I get is the same impassive look. He does that whenever he can't disclose anything. He does that whenever he's lying. In the face of it, amidst the thick tension, a frustrated huff is the only thing I can summon.
Be that way. Fine. Suit yourself.
No more words. After everything I've seen and heard tonight, I'm already too exhausted for those. I mean, a lot happened. That's fair. So without speaking any further, I simply walk past him and stomp over his car. Stomp over his car?
For his car. Not surely.
Although before I can pull open the door, he calls out. One hand outstretched, a gentle weight on my shoulders.
Wait, Becca.
He pauses, his brows furrowing and lips curving into a slight frown. I can almost see the gears turning in his head while he tries to piece together everything he wants to say. Before, perhaps, I might have waited patiently for those. He's not a man fond of using words to express himself. More often than not, any gesture of honesty would come out blunt and coarse when forced. But today, for one reason or another, I simply can't summon the forbearance.
Ashton, if you're just going to waste my time again...
Becca, listen. I don't know how else.
That much is obvious. Why don't you just take the whole bloody night? Go on. I can wait until next year.
Slow down.
Better yet, why don't you just keep it all to yourself like you always do? It's not like...
Rebecca, will you hear me out first?
The silence I can offer him, but whether I'll believe what he's about to say is still up for debate. A very long debate.
I honestly don't know how else to put this. I'm aware your parents have some kind of history with Hana Wright, and somehow you're friends with her. But you should stay away from these people for now, especially the husband.
Who? Luke?
Is there another husband I don't know about? His expression deepens into a scowl at my mention of the name, but whatever opinion he has, he doesn't immediately voice. Still, something about it has greatly displeased him, evident in the stiff note his tone assumes.
Yeah, he's bad news.
I agree.
No shit.
I agree. It's my turn to frown this time. What does he mean by that? Okay,
We're kind of low.
yeah, we need to make this
Below
a
the bar
good
with him.
choice. What does he have to do with this sounds more aggressive? I think.
Well, so does care to explain your reasons, especially with how pissed she is right now? Neither sounds good.
Yeah. But I feel like what does he have to do with this is, like, immediately dissing his claim, you know? I'm thinking the bottom one is the right choice. I know, I've been wrong before. It happens a
I
lot.
hate this. But we're not that.
We're only a
Low?
little low. But still, I'd like to bring that back up. I'm thinking the bottom one sounds a little less aggressive, but sometimes I've been choosing stuff and like they say stuff like they go way beyond what the text actually says, and I'm like, no, hold on a minute, that's not what I said.
That's because you can't get the tone from text.
True, true.
Is the thing.
I'm thinking this one.
Care to explain your reasons?
We're down.
Okay, good. We went up. That's good.
Just barely.
Just a little. Hey, at least we're even. I'm not meant for it to sound as harsh as it does, but the other one would have sounded harsh too, so... But anger and frustration have never been a good match in me, particularly in nights like this. And it's not surprising when Ashton jerks back as if I've struck him. For a fleeting moment, something akin to hurt darts across his features, his eyes narrowing and hands closing in tightly into a fist at his sides. Then swiftly he glances away and shifts his focus on the line of trees nearby, like an answer can be gleaned from the dark expanse.
I'm really sorry, Becca.
What is it for? For the party? The vague answers he continues to give? Does it include all those times before this? The year's worth of it? I don't doubt its sincerity. However, at the moment, the forgiveness he's asking isn't something I'm all too willing to hand, furious as I am. It's frankly a wonder how I can keep myself from raising my voice at him.
We'll talk about this tomorrow. And you better have a proper answer for me by then.
There's a brief hesitation before I step away, a short moment of wanting to say more, of waiting if he has anything to add. He's only silent, eyes still trailed at a distance. It is the last glimpse I see of him before I climb inside his car. Okay. Interesting. If the door slams closed with the same force as the anger I'm holding, its sound merely vanishes into the night, unnoticed. He follows soon after, and shortly we're on our way back to the city. Yet, even with the city's bright lights welcoming us, the dense, somber air from the mansion still lingers. It never goes away. The moon is almost at its highest by the time we reach Salemwell. Even after our respective heads have cooled down, the atmosphere within the car remains rife with unspoken tension. This isn't a problem so easily fixed with a few handshakes. Quite frankly, I don't know what will. Ashton himself has no idea what to do when he alights and dawdles awkwardly in the middle of the car park, unsure. It almost seems like he's having an internal debate, whether he should say goodbye or mutter another apology. I could have driven him away, purely out of spite, the second I've gotten off. Still, old habits die hard. It's too late, and Ashton's flat is on the other side of the city. Irritation might still rear its head every time I look at him right now, but I'm not too cruel to put him up on another long drive, especially when he still appears as if he hasn't gotten any rest.
You can borrow the couch.
I throw the keys to my flat his way before a protest forms on his lips. Although he catches it with ease, he eyes it with a wary expression and shoots a puzzled glance my way.
You haven't been forgiven. We're still going to have that talk, believe me. But I'm not about to send you out on another drive looking like that. It's late. Go get some rest.
We're setting aside a lot of those loose ends like this, but he appears to have accepted that reason, at least in the meantime. He does give me another questioning glance when I shove past him, pulling my mobile in the process.
Where are you going? I thought...
You go ahead upstairs. I need to contact Professor Andrew.
Andrew? Why would you... Oh, no. Please. Is this that thing Isabella said this morning? Again? I already gave her my word, Becca. I'll look into this BRC crap. No need to drag the old guy into it.
Of course, he's still skeptical. It makes one wonder if he's even seeing anything at all, figures this curse will stay away from the scoffer. But this is another loose end tonight that I can't just leave alone, Ashton beliefs notwithstanding. Just so happens that it's one I can delve into using means other than taking a look at the mansion himself. Hi, doll. How are you?
Ashton,
Hi.
do you really think I still give a shite after that stunt you pulled tonight?
No, but this is...
No?
But
There's always a but. No is always followed by but. I've spent so many years with him to know this is about to turn into another argument. Aw, well I hope you can sleep better later. I hate when I can't sleep. Before he can finish it, I cut him off with a firm raise of my hand.
Look, I don't care. There are weird things happening around here. And yes, it's Isabella's brand of weird. Ghostly voices, strange sounds, and a bloody woman sitting at the back of my car. You don't have to believe me. And I no longer have the patience to convince you, so just leave me be, Ashton.
He doesn't push it, growing quiet instead, although I know he has a whole case of it prepared inside his head. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to click auto.
Well,
which is not going to do anything anyway, because we haven't read this yet. It'll only auto-skip if we've actually read it. But there's a reluctant shift in his movement when he steps away from our conversation. Short of climbing the stairs, he stops, turns to face me with an expression almost too... conflicted?
Are you really sure?
What?
That there was something? That you've been, seeing things?
Yes, I'm very, very certain. Now go. And you better not break anything in there. The last time I let you stay over, it was that statuette Belle gave me. You haven't even replaced that one.
How dare you? The last of my reprimand goes both unheard and unanswered as he disappears behind the stairs. If things aren't as strained, he might have a quip or two about that, followed by a light banter. Instead, for a long moment, I am left staring after him. There's something in the way he asked it that nags. Coupled with his expression, the whole exchange just feels unsettling. One that doesn't fade even as I gather my thoughts and shift my focus on another, even as I dial Professor Andrew's number. And that is when it clicks. During the long wait for the professor, one stray thought emerges from the unease. Ashton has not intended for his question to be a jibe. It's concern. For what, though? For my well-being? The letter's curse? The woman I mentioned? The answers for those will have to wait, however. Finally, the call connects and Professor Andrew's voice echoes from the receiver.
Professor Andrew?
Rebecca? It's late.
Also, why is the mute sign on?
What can I do for you?
I know, I'm sorry, but this is a bit urgent.
After all, this is a more pressing matter. Our lives might be at stake and we're still in the dark.
Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you to do me a favor.
A favor, you say?
What's said favor?
Apparently, skipping days.
2 days later.
Professor Andrew Clark has agreed to meet with me 2 days later in front of Luxbourne's public library. He has other commitments, but being a longtime family friend has his perks. I have my parents' connections to thank for that. Of course, I'm not the sort to impose on him often, but the situation is, well, it's not entirely bad, although it does require calling in a few favors from friends like him. Without his signature, I won't be able to gain access to the library's restricted section. If I want to go more in-depth information on the Ermengarde mansion, that is. Not simply what they choose to show to the general public. As much as I hate to admit it, there's always something people censor, and whatever it is, I won't ever find it in the general section. It has to be what they're keeping there, beyond the public eye. The thought of that alone makes me antsy. Thankfully, I don't have to brood over it. The wait for the professor doesn't last long. He never did enjoy making people wait. Likewise, he dislikes people who are tardy. He arrives 5 minutes after I do, greeting me with a kind smile and casual wave of his hand. I haven't seen him in so long, but it appears he hasn't changed much. His familiar presence alone is enough for a fond smile to spread over my face.
Professor Andrew.
Rebecca, didn't I say long ago you can drop the professor?
You know I can't possibly do that. Even if I can, it feels disrespectful to call you by your name alone.
Both you and Ashton never listen to this old man. Kids these days.
All right. But just for today, since you're doing me a huge favor, Andrew.
I guess you simply can't have it all, even at this old age. But pleasantries aren't what we're here for, yes? You mentioned you needed a permit.
Yes, sir, if that's okay with you.
More than fine. Anything in pursuit of knowledge, as they say.
He hands me the permit without further prompting. And just like he promised, he's also written a recommendation after his signature. This is more than enough to get me to those files. I mutter a small thanks before slipping it into my pocket. Although when I look back up, his brows are furrowed, the very face of curiosity. Not surprising, considering how vague I've been during our little talk over the phone. Right then and there, I've decided to tell him if he ever asks. Maybe not all of it, but stuff he needs to know. It's the least I can do to thank him. As expected, true to his inquisitive nature, he asks...
If you don't mind, though.
This is actually kind of interesting, because I'm guessing she's going to try to go into the history and look at the history of the mansion, you know, and other things. And she's a history teacher, so it's actually kind of an interesting development.
I know you've always been an eager learner, but may I know what in the restricted section that piqued your curiosity?
It's the Ermengarde mansion, sir.
He's quick to raise an eyebrow at that, and for a while, I fear he'll take the slip of paper back. Is there something in what I said?
The ones they have out in the general isn't enough?
I'm, hoping for a more in-depth read, sir. More about the history and the people who once lived there. The general section doesn't have anything much on that.
Oh, I see. Well, you certainly aren't the first one to be enamored with that place. It doesn't shock me. The architecture is admirable, and the urban legends are something to talk about. Why, just this past week, I've got a few asking me about that. Imagine that.
I think enamored might be a little too much to describe our interest in it. But I have to agree. The mansion is beautiful, even with the renovations. They kept the stained glass windows, too. They are magnificent.
Oh, you've seen it.
I was there for a few hours to attend a housewarming party. The invitation was for my parents, but they couldn't make it. My mum used to work as a private tutor for the Evans. Hannah Wright?
Ah, I know of her. Her husband, too. Who doesn't? Luxborn's most popular couple.
Something falls behind his eyes, the warmth in them suddenly gone, like he's reliving a painful distant memory and seeing it play right in front of him. I wonder why he's upset about that. It disappears almost as soon as it surfaces, but that look has unsettled something in me.
Is something the matter?
Nothing much. But you know, you're already like a daughter to me. So if you could, do be careful with the friends you make.
Is this about the rights, sir?
Just a friendly advice from an old man. Don't think much about it. Anyway, I have to leave now. Can't miss my weekly serving of bear claws. Say hi to your parents at the detective inspector for me, will you? I wish you luck with all that research.
I will. Thanks for this, Andrew.
Andrew gives my shoulder a light squeeze, the gesture a younger me has always appreciated, and quickly crosses the street after. I watch him until he disappears behind the door to a cafe, until the doubt swimming inside my head finds a moment's rest. Whatever his business is with the rights isn't anything I should concern myself about. But somehow, in the grand scheme of things now, all of it feels oddly relevant. The how, though, I've yet to find out, and I'm hoping the library will give me the answers I want this time. On a gloomy Sunday morning, the library is especially empty. The second floor in particular. I've always considered this place to be a sanctuary, a respite away from the hubbub of the city. As a child, I grew up reading books here, spending hours here to no end poring over the pages, living out fantasies in my head until my parents called me home. Now it feels nothing like it. The silence is smothering, suffocating, even with how clean they've kept the microfiche room, how the entire smell of it lacks a speck of dust or clutter. Breathing is a struggle for air. Not far into my stay, I begin to look for the noise outside. Perhaps as a way to calm the unease, I start to hum a tune. Imagine that.
London Bridge.
Yeah. Why of all things it has to be that silly nursery rhyme? I've not an inkling. It does its job, however. It fills the lull with something far less awkward, far less deafening, and that is enough for a distraction. I have business here. No time for silly daydreams, only important work to attend to. Even if there's a possibility of it being fruitless, by some means, it feels like I have to do it, if not for me, then for the people who has been affected by this, what do we even call this? A haunting? A Halloween prank gone wrong? A curse? All of the above? If Isabella were here, what would she say? Will she panic? Will she be angry I only listen to her now? It all stems from that one moment at the movie house, doesn't it? We could have avoided this had we only taken her warnings to heart. One stupid mistake is all it took to send our normal lives into a downward spiral. Frankly, I'm no longer sure if I'm angry at myself for it, or if the universe was throwing us into this mess. We can only make do with what little we have, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Going here might not be the right decision, but it's a start.
A good start.
It doesn't take much time for me to find what I need. A microfiche of old newspapers long kept in special storage cabinets at the far end of the restricted section. The year is 1620s and beyond. Before the city of Luxmorn even exists in the records, when the mansion has just been built, and Anselm is nothing more but a small, sleepy hamlet near a river. A lot of pieces are missing. Days, sometimes several consecutive weeks without any records given. Records remaining. Often it goes on for years. Troublesome. But as it is, I'm lucky enough to find anything at all, considering how far I'm looking back. Can't be picky now. Can't waste time mulling over what record keepers of the old could have done to make this a breeze for me.
I can still work with this.
We'll do our best. The faint whir of the microfiche machine keeps me company as I go over each slide, each image, hoping for something that goes beyond what the local lore knows. There are snippets, little mentions of the family that once settled in the house here and there. The usual singing of praises for the couple who had helped brought up what was once a tiny settlement into a bustling town. Nothing substantial, nothing I didn't know before. It continues on like this for a good while, till I come by the years after their deaths. The people of Anselm might have loved Lord William and Lady Elizabeth Ermengarde, mourning their passing, and held them in high esteem in the years after. But it was their daughter that was remembered fondly by the townspeople. If her parents built this town, Lady Charlotte was the one who made it prosper. Remarkable, considering it was a period of recovery from a bout of plague that killed half the town's population, including her parents. Is she the witch? Is the lady the witch? What's surprising, though... Oh no, she was a slave. Okay. Apparently her time also marked more than superficial changes to the place. She moved things, changed laws, altered old customs and traditions. If they were done on a woman's whimsy, it doesn't say. But she seems capable enough for more than that. The gist of it, is the town she rebuilt. It's what eventually grew to become Luxmorn City, while the nearby Anselm village remained as it was, a relic of the old. A frown swiftly forms in my face.
So, why is there a need to hide this?
One by one, I try to recall every lesson I've gone through, every book, paper, and journal I've read. None of those ever mention this. It's always the lord and the lady of the house, their endearing child, always an afterthought to those anecdotes. The one who always took her life in the end. Never someone who restored a town from the brink of collapse or brought new ideas to it. Is it because she's a woman?
That pisses me off.
Granted, not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Not all aspects of her can be considered admirable. But this is history. Some parts are bound to naturally delve into unpleasant territory, whether I like it or not. And there was a witch thing! I knew that looked too much like a witch thing. Witch hunts, for example, became common near the end of her life, which would have been completely unremarkable and might have gone to become a more footnote in history if it didn't involve Lady Charlotte and the very slaves she saved. Caused quite a stir, enough to leave almost a week's worth of clippings. The girl was eventually burned, condemned by an entire town. I was thinking about that when she said Salem something, the name of the apartments, I think, earlier. What was it?
Salemwell.
Salemwell, yeah. I was like, that sounds like, a witch thing. The word of Lady Charlotte alone. But this doesn't really have anything to do with the curse, does it? Or does it? Unless that woman following us and the slave are the same person. A tale of revenge? How cliché. However, with the lack of accurate photographs, it's impossible to tell. Maybe if I squint, the illustration would start resembling her? But in my field, it doesn't work that way. It shouldn't work that way. I'll be the laughingstock of the community.
This isn't going anywhere.
Mentally exhausted, I take a careful step away from the screen, pressing a palm to my tired eyes. The lack of ample light in this area doesn't help. A headache already threatens to form at the back of my head, yet I'm nowhere near figuring things out. This is simply too much to take in all at once.
I should have asked for someone's help.
Now I'm at a dead end. I start gathering everything around me and placing them back in their respective envelopes for storage. The motion's no longer new after volunteering here for a number of times. I didn't make much mess anyway, considering the lack of materials available to begin with. I'll have to look somewhere safe. The where remains unknown, though. Just as I'm about to slip the last of the slides in, something catches my attention. My hand pauses, the microfiche halfway through its protective sleeve. This is one of the few I've set aside without taking a careful look at. Seems like a gossip column at first glance, but upon closer look, I slide it back to the reader, gently turning the dials in search of the page. It takes some time, but once the image becomes clear, they must have had this drawing commissioned for this announcement. I don't doubt it. The details are far more intricate, their likeness likely closer to how they might have appeared at the time. They're both recognizable this way, closer to those paintings I've seen in the mansion. However, it's the man standing beside her, Edward Godfrey, according to the article, that caught my attention previously. Her first cousin and eventually her fiancé. Maybe it's the posture, the manner in which he holds himself. Maybe it's the shape of his eyes, though I can't be too certain about that until I've gotten a better reference. Nevertheless, there is a resemblance. He looks eerily like... My head snaps up, glowering at whoever's running in the floor above. Any day, I'd march upstairs and reprimand whoever it is.
This is a library, for heaven's sake.
Be quiet in the library! But now isn't the time. I've gotten what I need. Without wasting another minute, I hit the machine's print button for a copy of the page, while my other hand moves to put everything back in its storage. A ragged exhale slips from me. Relief, perhaps? Or maybe this is already exhaustion. Regardless, soon, I'm closing my eyes as I wait for the printer to finish, if only to stave off a headache building up from... everything. Oh, that's right after the thing with Zachary.
So he just got arrested.
Yeah. Sometime I've even began humming the same song again. For comfort. Despite my doubts about this, despite all the tension in my shoulders, this may be a small find, but at least I can start somewhere. We can start somewhere. There's a way out of this. I know it. The printer sputters to a halt. However, its sound isn't what makes me snap my eyes open. Oh. Oh no. Don't sing the same song I'm singing. That's not allowed. A feeling, a chilly brush of air behind my back.
So creepy though.
Don't be singing it like the souls of the damned, please.
Well, it's the reverb in it that makes it
right. Brief enough for something sickening to suddenly lodge itself in my throat. Also, where did everyone else go? Well, they just dipped. Well, the demon lady's coming. See y'all later.
They heard the singing and was like, yeah, nah, it's too early for this shit.
While I take in my surroundings, it's that suffocating sensation again. Creeping to every part of me, crawling under my skin. Oh no. Oh no.
You better be ready.
Oh no. Draining me little by little of any strength. From that day in the mansion. From that brief moment at the school. Without delay, I grab the papers and make a quick beeline for the door. I'm gonna save.
You better save.
I'm scared. Oh, Jesus!
Oh!
Oh, Jesus! My whole body freezes.
What are you doing, Miss Pink?
Oh, shit.
I hold my breath, not daring to make any noise. For a little while, only the sound of papers crumpling under my grasp fills the room. The excitement from earlier gone instantly, replaced by a cold, seeping dread spreading through my limbs. But more than the fear is the anger. Hi, Cuddles, Nurse said. I don't want cuddles from you, no. It pains me to hear her using my own student's voice against me, and more than once I believed it was really her. She had no right.
Why don't you play with me?
How about no?
I'm good, you know?
How about no?
Although she hasn't made a move. If there isn't a wall behind me, I'd probably take a step back. Anything to put distance between us, no matter how small, as long as I'm out of her reach. But I steel myself, because if I do fall back, turn away from her, I'll be left with no way out. I am not dying here.
You think you scare me?
Miss Pink, don't be so rude. I'm waiting.
I'm not afraid of you, you spook. This is one Scotswoman. You aren't getting into an early grave without a fight.
I'm gonna save again.
Come at me.
She's being awful brave! I expected she'll lunge. Prove to me what a monster she is.
She better start checking books.
Oh no, I don't like the smile. Instead all she gives me is a smile, twisted and gnarled. It's as if time has crawled to a stop at the sight of it. A split-second decision. Oh no! No!
Fuck.
No! For I know it, my body shifts. Eyes closing in anticipation, hand grabbing whatever's solid enough on the nearby table and hurtling at her. I don't bother looking if whatever I threw hit its mark. I run, as fast as my legs can carry me, despite my heart threatening to burst out of my chest. But in this maze of bookshelves, with the whole place almost void of people, is there even a safe place I can escape to? Okay, I'm gonna save again. I thought there was gonna be like a gameplay thing where I was gonna fuck up again.
Oh, give it a minute.
Alright, the door upstairs.
Head for the door. You go upstairs and you're trapping yourself.
But is the door open? I mean,
If
it
you
looks
go
like it is
upstairs,
in the CG, but...
Yeah, but you go upstairs and you will corner yourself. Because there's no guarantee you can get back around her.
True. If there's one, it is out of this room, out of this place, as far as anyone can get from her. I could think about the rest of what I can do after I'm outside, while there are other people I can ask for help. When she's not chasing after me like this. There's no hesitation in my steps as I race for the restricted section's door, head downstairs, and barrel straight for the library's exit. Towards safety, in a desperate bid for my life. Library rules be damned. Yeah, screw the library rules if you're in danger like that.
Someone was running earlier.
I can no longer hear her behind me, but I'm not taking any chances. A breath almost escapes me as I near the door. A little more. When out of nowhere, a library cart careens from a blind corner and slams to my sides. My back hits the floor with a hard thud, the impact completely knocking the breath out of me. The copper tang of blood gradually spreads over my tongue as I fight to get my bearings back. I force myself to move, even with the excruciating pain coursing through my limbs. The exit's almost there, if only I can... But there's no moment's respite. Oh!
Oh, you get ready.
The next thing I know, there's heavy weight on top of me, and cold digits slide around my neck, tight like a vice, pressing, closing, and leaving me grasping for air. Though through my blurred vision, I can only make out the hateful gleam. Oh, Jesus, the spite in her eyes as she looms over my body and her grip of my throat grows wider. Tighter! Desperation kicks in! I can't even talk! My nails dig into her wrist as I struggle against her firm grip, trying to pry her fingers away. What do I do?
Start spam everything.
Oh, what is this?
Keep the slider within the green bar, moving the mouse.
Oh, okay.
Keep it in the
I
green.
see.
You have to. You can do it.
I got it. Okay. I didn't think twice. My limbs are moving on their own before what when I did fully register in my brain and my lungs could recover. Behind me, she lets out a cry, sharp, loud, and thunderous against the empty walls of the library. No, thank you! No, thank you! But the fear her wails bring compares nothing to the relief washing over me when I finally make it out. Oh, Jesus.
Achievement!
Achievement! Let's go! Alright, I'm saving after that again. Whew! My knees buckle as soon as my feet hits the pavement, its surface cold and hard against my skin. I've only been in there for a few hours, about 1 or 2 probably. I don't know anymore. Feels like an eternity all the same. My breathing hasn't slowed down yet, and I don't expect it to after going through that. I probably look the most undignified creature on a Sunday morning right now. Out of breath, disheveled, slumped where... Oh my god, I can't... You're breathing! I'm like... slumped here with a bloodied lip and all. But at present, I simply can't bring myself to care, even when a few passerbys start giving me strange looks. Stare at me all you want. I don't give a single shite. I'm alive. I'm
Calm
safe.
down, though. Shit.
This isn't the end yet, but I'm safe. And inside my bag is something that could get us out of this mess. Nothing definite yet. I don't want to get my hopes up, but it's still something. Okay, chill out. It's okay. It's alright. Like all that heavy breathing, I was like, oh my god, I can't even hear myself.
Like, I'm out of breath.
Alright. If Isabella is here, I'm sure she'll feel the same. She'll even be the first one who will put her faith on it. No running in the library, unless Murder Ghost. Then you're allowed. Wherever this will lead us to is a victory on its own. Now all that's left is to find the others, the rest of us trapped in this bloody nightmare. Right on cue. Well, we're not sure if one of us is still there.
We'll find out here in a little bit.
As if in answer to my previous thought, my mobile phone lets out a beep. I pick it up, simply holding it, hoping it'll be one of them. Only it's a voicemail that greets me. From Ashton. There's a pang of disappointment, of course, but it brings some reassurance that nothing's happened to at least one of them.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
He ends it right there, the message less than a minute long, curt, and gives nothing away. I let it ease my worries, regardless, and do as he asks. Because this, too, is another triumph for us. One less thing to worry about. Okay. Oh, that's how her chapter ends. What?
And now we're
what?
with Ashton.
And Ashton's
We're
is
starting
like
at the party.
super long,
Fucking
right?
Super freaking long.
Okay, interesting. Alright, Ashton. He's Capricorn. 29 years old. 5'5". I'm taller than Ashton? What? Detective Inspector,
Oh, that's
American
weird.
Japanese. Christian, non-practicing. Bachelor's in Forensic Science. Taiyaki ice cream. That sounds so good. Who's Ophelia?
I don't know.
Shirley's his car. Who's Ophelia? Old-timey action movies and thrillers. Kart racing, jazz, and swing. Oh, jazz and swing. Sherlock Holmes, justice. I mean, Sherlock Holmes makes sense. There was little love between his parents, and though he grew up privileged, he found little joy in student life. He saw the standard testing system as a chore and considered his popularity amongst his peers to be an annoyance. Rebecca was the only one he considered a friend in St. Goretti, and he was no better when he went into university. If anything, his indifferent outlook got worse with his parents' divorce. He initially took law, but was quickly disillusioned by how heavy-handed and abused the system was. Very true. Forensic science, on the other hand, became fascinating for him. He served a brief time as a police officer before he applied to join Luxburg's Criminal Investigation Department. Early on, he was too eager to deal out justice, but his numerous years in service became quite the learning experience for him. Now, as a detective inspector, he's been assigned to his biggest case yet.
I watched way
Interesting.
too much Law and Order.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's not... The justice system is bad in law, but it's also bad in the police department, too. But Depends
It's
on
just battle around.
Yeah, it's just battle around for sure. You want to do some in Ashes, or do you want to like
I'm just
call it?
trying to think of how long his is. I know it's
Longer than the rest of them, I think, right?
decently long.
I mean, we could get a little bit of a head start on it.
What day are we starting?
30th? I think. I think it's the 30th when we're starting.
About long. It's
So it's very
that's what I
long.
thought. Yes.
Well, I mean, it's gonna take us multiple parts to get through it regardless, so... Because he inner
does look like an
monologues
inner-
everything. True.
He looks like an inner monologuer, that's why
Yeah.
he's so quiet.
I mean, I don't mind starting it, and then we can get a head start, but I'm not sure how much we want to do here. Do you got work tomorrow?
Ew.
You do? Do you have to go in the morning?
Yes.
Oof. I don't know. Do you want to go longer, or do you want to call it? I won't be upset either way. Because I have work in the morning too, but I mean...
Let me double check. Saved it. I think probably go ahead and call it.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so at least we got past Rebecca's part, so that's nice. It'll nice to start fresh with his whenever we get to it. Alright. Let me pull up my see you soon screen. Yeah, for some reason my chat on my Streamlabs today is just not keeping up. Don't know why. Alright, let me find someone to raid here. Oh, Shadow Tire's playing Smite. Don't think I've raided Shadow yet. I think he's just starting. So, yeah. Alright, Shadow Tire is a new but close friend of mine. He's very, very nice, so go check him out. He is playing Smite right now. We will be playing the letter again, you know, on Thursdays, assuming at the same time at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, assuming that something doesn't happen or whatever. But I will let you all know either way via Discord and Twitter, and it'll be on my stream, my Twitch stream schedule as well. No, I cannot. I am incapable of talking. Okay. Get that out of there. Alright, but we will be continuing this very soon, and hopefully we can get through the last two chapters pretty quickly. You know, it'll take some time because of Ash, but we'll figure it out. Quicker than what we were getting through them, I guess I should say. Yeah, it's been a while. Not as long as Higurashi though, for me. Alright. But yeah, let's go raid Shadow, and we will be playing this again next Thursday, and I will see you all later. Bye! I swear my outros get worse every time.